Hello again everyone, Christine here from the Hollowbrook Branch, and today I would like to teach you some basic tie-dye techniques. Before we get started, I want to talk a little bit about the materials you will need. You will of course need some dye. These can easily be found at craft stores or online, and there's several different types and they're all okay. Do pay attention when you're shopping. There are some, like this one that I like to get, that are simply the powder and you mix some water in there and shake it up and you're ready to go. Those are very easy. There are other kinds that work really well, but you do need to add other things to them, such as soda ash that you might not have at home. And so just pay attention while you're buying to make sure that you have everything that you'll need. You will also need rubber bands to tie off the item that you're dyeing. You can, if you don't have rubber bands, use string, but rubber bands are a little bit easier. You might want some plastic gloves to protect your hands while you're dyeing. You may also need a plastic tarp to protect the surface that you're working on. And of course, you will need things that you're going to dye. Now, you want to dye items that are made out of cotton material. So 100% cotton is the best, or close to it. Most commonly done, of course, is t-shirts. Because they're cotton, it's easy to find white t-shirts and they look great. But you can dye anything that's cotton. Obviously behind me I have all these towels that I've dyed. I have an apron in my house that I have tie-dyed, and I have some other things that I'm going to do with my kids today. We have some small size t-shirts we're going to make for my niece. I have one of my old t-shirts. You don't necessarily have to buy things to dye. This is an old t-shirt that I had in the house and it has a stain on the front. So I haven't been wearing it, so I decided I'm going to try to cover up that stain with some dye. You can do pillowcases. This again was an old pillowcase I had in the house. It was starting to look a little dingy, so I thought I'd tie-dye it and see how it comes out. We have some washcloths. You can do socks, anything that's cotton really. The last thing that I have to dye today is just these plain cotton rectangles, and I'm going to dye a bunch of these and then I'm going to use them to make face masks. You may also want to keep in mind that your clothes may get messy. This obviously stains clothing because that's the point of it. So don't wear anything that you don't want to have spots on it when you're tie-dyeing. Wear your worst clothes and pay attention to where you are. I like to do my tie-dye right outside in the backyard and work right on the grass so that I don't have to worry about any mess. If the weather's bad or you can't be outside, you can do it inside. You'll just use your plastic tarp. If I do it inside, I like to do it right on the floor and spread that tarp out nice and wide so that we're not making a mess. Okay, so these are the patterns that I'm going to show you how to do today. First, we have stripes. These are a very easy pattern to do, and we have vertical stripes, horizontal stripes, diagonal stripes, and then this is just an example where I did diagonal stripes on one half and then I left the other half untied and just dyed it plain to make an interesting looking pattern. So after stripes, we are going to do some bullseyes. That's what we have here. This is a classic bullseye, one circle in the middle, and then they go out and get larger as you go. This is a bullseye as well, but this one actually has 5 separate bullseyes in it. So we have a large one in the middle, and we have one in each corner. And then lastly, I am going to show you how to do a spiral. This is one of the most popular designs. It is a little bit trickier, but it's manageable, and the spiral is fun because obviously it starts in the center and then the colors spin outwards like that. So I will show you how to tie off those designs and then we'll do some dyeing. Okay, so the first pattern I'm going to show you how to do is stripes. Now for stripes, what you're basically going to do is scrunch up your fabric and then put rubber bands at regular intervals all along. Now, if you want vertical stripes, so stripes that are going this way, you want to start at the top and scrunch your fabric till you get to the bottom, like so. If you want horizontal stripes on your shirt that go this way, you are going to go from side to side. So you will start at the side and scrunch it up this way. If you want diagonal stripes, you are going to scrunch on a diagonal. So you will start in your top corner and you will scrunch downwards this way. So let's do it as if we are doing vertical stripes. So I'm going to start at the top and I'm going to scrunch up my shirt like so. And then I'm going to start putting rubber bands on. So this one just has the sleeve in it. That's okay. You want stripes on your sleeves too. And you want to just tie it as many times as you can. You don't want to snap your rubber band, but it does have to be pretty tight if you want to have a stripe. Now we're going to go a little farther down. Do another one. A little farther down. Try to keep them equidistant if you want your stripes to be equidistant. It does get a little trickier as you get to the center, and they might not be as tight towards the center. That's okay. Okay, so now as you can see, the t-shirt's just in one long strip, and we have rubber bands going all along. Now I'm going to show you how to dye after I show you how to tie off the other two patterns. But basically what you're going to do is you're going to put a different color, or you could do the same color if you want, but you're going to put color in each of these sections in between your rubber bands. So let's go on to our bullseye. Now, when you're doing a bullseye, what you're basically doing is making circles. So, how you make a circle, say I want a circle here in the center. This could be the center of the bullseye. I want to take both layers of the fabric and just lift it up and make a little pinch like that. And then you're going to put a rubber band there. Now in this spot, you will have a circle. So, you could, if you wanted to, make random circles all over by simply pinching off different spots. And then you'll kind of have a polka dotted shirt. You could do that if you wanted to. But if you want to do a bullseye, what you want to do is keep going with this one. So you want to lift it up a little further and put a rubber band here. And then keep going down at regular intervals with your rubber bands. Okay, so here's our bullseye t-shirt ready to be dyed, and just like with the other one, what we're going to do is we're going to put dye into each of these sections. Alright, let's go on to our last one, which is a spiral pattern. Now, the spiral pattern is a little bit different, but you actually want to start with a very similarly to the way we did the bullseye. So you kind of want to pinch up the center of your t-shirt, both layers. But then what you're going to do, once you have a little bit pinched there, you're going to want to twist it like this. And then you can kind of keep twisting. You can guide it a little bit with your other hand so that you're twisting it up into a spiral pattern. Now once you have it all kind of twisted up like this, you get a look at that, see it's in a spiral pattern. What you want to do, you got to kind of hold it with the one hand. And then you want to put a rubber band around like this. If you can do two loops, but I don't think I can there. And then you want to basically keep putting rubber bands around so that you have pie pieces. So I'm going to do another one going the opposite direction. And then I'm going to do one in between here. And I'm going to put one across this way. So there, so now we have the rubber bands creating sort of slices of pie in our spiral t-shirt. And then for this one, what you would do is squirt a little bit of dye in each pie piece. So you could do different colors in each one to get a colorful spiral. Each little section will have some dye on it. Okay, so now we're ready to dye. So I have my shirt here. This is the one that we did in the spiral pattern, and I'm going to do this with yellow, red, and orange. So first I have my bottle of yellow dye, and I'm just going to put the dye in one pie piece like so. I'm going to hold the bottle pretty close to the shirt so that it's not splashing all over, and I'm going to kind of squeeze it into some of the creases. See, getting it real in there. You want to try to keep it in the one pie piece and not have it go to the others, but a little bit of moving around is okay. Alright, so then I'm going to go on to the next pie piece right here, and I'm going to do this one with my red. Okay, and then I'm going to do orange, and I'm going to keep going around in a circle until I'm done. Okay, so next we have our striped item here, and this is the exact same way you would do a bullseye item because it'll look just like this. You'll have your rubber bands with little spaces in between. So I'm going to take some dye. So we're going to start at the end here, and you're just going to soak that fabric with the color. Again, keep your bottle, you don't want to be squirting from up here because your dye will get all over. Keep your bottle close to your fabric. You can get it into the creases there. Now you want to pretty much saturate the fabric, but you don't have to overdo it. If you pick your fabric up and it's dripping down, you probably have more than you need on there. But you do want it pretty saturated through so that you have nice solid colors. Alright, I'm going to put next to that this kind of peachy color in the next section. I've put my gloves on now, I forgot to last time. And you want to keep going with a different color in each section. Now if you did the same color in each section, that's fine because you'll still have white in between. It'll still be a nice tie-dye pattern. And we're just going to keep going along like that. Okay, so my kids gave me a hand and we finished dyeing all of our items. So I'll just show you what a few of them look like when they're finished. You can see this is going to be a stripy one, and you can see how there's a different color in each section. Similar, this is a bullseye one, which is a similar idea. And this is the spiral. So I got a little messy there, but that's okay. One of the great things about tie-dye is you can get a little messy and it looks all right. It looks natural. So you can see how there's kind of a different color in each section like that. So what you want to do now is you want to take each of your items and place it kind of carefully in a plastic bag. So I like to reuse grocery bags just to be environmentally friendly, but any plastic bag will do. And you just want to kind of wrap it up and not twist it or knot it at the end so that it's covered. And then you're going to let each item sit in its own plastic bag. You want to let it sit for at least 6 hours. I usually leave it a little longer than that. It's evening now, so I'm going to leave these overnight and I'll unwrap them tomorrow morning. So then what I'm going to do tomorrow morning is I'm going to unwrap each one, and then when the rubber bands are still on, I'm going to rinse it underwater until the water runs mostly clear. It does take a little while, but you want to leave those rubber bands on and rinse it off. Then, once you have the water running just about clear, then you can take the rubber bands off and you want to put your item into the washing machine and you want to wash it and dry it. And you want to do that, you want to do it with just your tie-dye items first, not with any of your other clothes, because for that first wash some of the dye may rinse off. So you're going to give it a wash and then it's going to be ready to go. And then you can just wash it regularly with the rest of your laundry.